Yo! Today is October 25th, 2022. Welcome to Simply Bitcoin Live. We are your #1 source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover breaking news, culture, memetic warfare. We will be your guide through the separation of money and state. Speaking about the separation of money and state, more attacks, specifically on Bitcoin's privacy, which we'll talk about. It's very ingenious the way that they use it because they're very good at picking out boogeymen and then blaming or justifying the taking away of rights and freedoms because of that certain boogeyman. So we're going to talk about that. Also, big news on the Lightning front. CashApp enables 40 million of their users to use Lightning from the app itself, and that's better than some Bitcoin wallets. But I suspect free market forces are going to incentivize other players to follow CashApp. So it's going to be interesting when PayPal, when Lightning Network. That should be interesting. But before we start the show, I want to say a very special hello to a buddy of mine, friend, Swan Bitcoin, also known as Alex Kaboom Rax. How you doing, bro?
Pretty good, man. Excited to be here.
Happy to have you on the show. And the one, the only, always optimistic. I don't know how you could always be optimistic, but he's always optimistic.
It's a way of life, bro. It's a way of life. You either see the bright side of life or you're dying. So, yeah, man, good to be here. It's Tuesday. We had a solid day yesterday. Pretty inspired from our conversations. Well, I didn't have the conversation last night, but the talk that you and Troy had last night, I think, was very inspiring. At least to see, where Simply Bitcoin fits in all this crazy stuff. And man, it just feels good. It feels good to show up every single day and continue to put out content. And today's daily culture, Nico, since we got my boy Alex here from Kaboom Racks, we're going to just do all things Kaboom Rack, considering he might be my favorite social media guy out there. He kills it over there. So I got a couple tweets in here, and I don't know if you guys know, but he did also host Toxic Airwaves. So he is going to give us some good rants from his perspective. So I'm excited for this one.
He's podcast trained, bro. He's podcast trained. He knows how to play the game. Anyways, let's start the show. Number time. Brought to you by NODL. At this point, you should be running your own Bitcoin node. If you don't use your own Bitcoin node, you're trusting someone else's. Run your own version of Bitcoin Core, the Lightning Network, Whirlpool, and Dojo, all from the comfort of your own home. And if you're a digital nomad, you have absolutely no excuse because now you can run a NODL through a virtual private server. Visit nodl.eu today. All right. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is 19,792. Sats per dollar, 5,052. Block height, 760,251. Reachable Bitcoin nodes, 14,132. Blocks to the halvening, 79,749. Halving estimate April 20th, 2024. Total Lightning Network capacity, 5,118 Bitcoin. Roughly. Oh, it's finally above 99 million. We're at 101 million USD in capacity value. Does that have anything to do with the Cash App announcement? I don't know. We shall see. Realized monetary inflation, 1.78%. Market capitalization, $380 billion with a B. Anyways, I want to talk about the new appointed Prime Minister of the UK. Now, it's really interesting, right? You search this guy, Rishi Sunak. Sorry, guys. Nico can't pronounce a lot of these names. And obviously, you put WEF, what's going on there, right? And it's really interesting how Google does this, right? The second thing, it's like, Rishi, it's his profile on the World Economic Forum. It's empty. It's just a picture of him. Strange. And then the second result is, this is not a globalist coup. They want to let you know that. But let's actually hear what he has to say specifically in relation to central bank digital currencies. It's a pretty old video. But the thing is, when this video came out, he wasn't the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. And now he is, right? So we know he's a member of the World Economic Forum. We know he's a we know he's a huge fan of central bank digital currencies. Interesting to say the least. Anyways, I'm gonna shut up. Let's play the video and then we'll talk about it.
Today, I'm proud to say that under the UK's presidency, the group of the world's 7 most advanced economies, the G7, is launching a set of public policy principles for retail central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies could be a digital version of money, a bit like a digital banknote that could be used alongside physical notes and coins. Unlike most of the digital money people use daily today, it would be issued directly by a central bank, like the Bank of England in the UK. And governments and central banks across the world are working together, looking into what having a digital currency might mean in practice. This includes issues that people care about, such as ensuring users' money would be safe and secure, that it could work with other ways to pay, would be energy efficient and available to everyone. A potential CBDC could offer businesses and consumers new ways to pay in the future. It's all part of the wider story of digital innovation that has delivered benefits to millions around the world and in the UK. The decision on whether to launch a central bank digital currency is for each country to make, and no G7 jurisdiction has yet made that choice. These decisions raise important questions about the reshaping of our economy, financial systems, and the way in which people interact with money and payments. That's why working together and careful evaluation with our international partners is essential. In the UK, earlier this year, I announced a new joint task force between the Treasury and the Bank of England to look into a potential CBDC as a complement to cash and bank deposits. We're also hearing from firms, technology experts, and others. Under the leadership of the UK, this report today will help support and inform exploration of CBDCs in the G7 and beyond. With these principles, the G7 is leading an important step change in the global policy conversation. The report covers a range of important matters, such as financial stability, cyber resilience, energy efficiency, privacy, inclusion, and tackling illicit finance. These factors should all be considered when designing and potentially delivering a CBDC that would be fit for the future. Our shared objective is to ensure that CBDCs would be grounded in long-standing commitments to transparency, the rule of law, and sound economic governance. The G7 will continue its work in this important area, working with others to enhance understanding and use of these principles. We're excited to be taking a leading role with G7 members in publishing.
All right, I can't do it. Jesus. Oh man. Okay, so a couple things there. Let's break it down. Does not mention one time inflation. Does not mention that people are seeking alternatives because they're tired of being stolen from by currency debasement. That's the reality here, and he's not talking about that. I wonder why. I have absolutely no idea. Holy crap. And he was just appointed. It wasn't an election. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and that's how he that's how he feels about central bank digital currencies. And clearly, it's very interesting because he is pushing the same message that the White House is pushing. That the future of money is central bank digital currencies. It is not Bitcoin. And I wonder why that is. Obviously, because they get a tremendous amount of power from issuing that money, from controlling that money. So it goes back to this idea that we've been talking about for quite a bit. The people that are in charge of regulating this thing, of the regulators, the people that are in charge of governments, also stand the most to lose if something like Bitcoin wins. And it's very interesting, and I think that's the signal that I would want you guys to take away from this, is that whole entire video talking about inclusivity, more efficient ways of paying, he mentioned the energy thing, right? It's like people give a flying F, whether their thing is energy efficient. But he never mentions inflation. He never mentions currency debasement. And that's the signal right there. And the reason that they can't mention that is because that's the tell. That's the fucking tell. If you tell everybody, right, hey, look, it's this is the reason that people are opting out, because people are tired of losing 8 to 10%, right, currently in the US and Europe, right? They're tired of being stolen from every single day. If you're not making 10 to 15% more than you were last year, you are poor. So these people don't want central bank digital currencies. People want to earn and save in a money that doesn't steal from them. And as time progresses, more and more people will wake up to the reality that they now have that tool with Bitcoin. Central bank digital currencies will never be able to do two things that Bitcoin can do. This is something that we were talking about last night with Troy. Governments will always want to debase, and governments will always want to censor and control. And unless they match those two things, they will never be able to beat Bitcoin's incentives. So the only thing they have left is coercion. So all the pretty talk, the guy in the suit, the official emblem, all the BS, talking about inclusivity, talking about whatever, it's up to you to ask them a very important question if you have the opportunity. Why are you forcing me to use a money that steals from me? Why? Why are you forcing me to use this through legal tender laws? I pay my taxes. Why do I have to do this too? And they won't have a good answer to that question. And it's really up to all of us to make them answer that very basic question. Anyways, kaboom, Rex. Alex, what are your thoughts? And then we'll move on to Opti.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we're talking about using Bitcoin versus using authoritarian currencies like CBDCs or fiat currencies, it comes down to a matter of self-worth. Like, do you exist just to be monitored? It's funny that he said privacy in that talk. Like, he just mentioned it. It means nothing. We know, governments and corporations don't care about our privacy whatsoever. But it just comes down to a matter of self-worth. Like, do you exist to be monitored and stolen from, or do you exist, to choose your own destiny? And which tool allows you to do that better? And the answer is Bitcoin. So, like, CBDCs are great for people that, like, have no self-worth and hate themselves and don't aspire to anything in life. So, yeah.
It's actually interesting you say that, because I think it was American Hodl who said something along those lines, right? It's like, for you to understand Bitcoin, you need to love yourself first, right? Because think about it, you're stacking now to benefit yourself in the future. And if you're nihilistic about the future, right, why would something like Bitcoin even be interesting to you? So yeah, I think that's a really good point. Anyways, Opti, what are your optimistic? There's no optimism here. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't going to be optimistic here. I was going to go, first off, Weef boy in office, who'da thunk it? Could have saw this coming. And then also your point of the Google ad read, that the following statement when you type in his name with Weef following it is not a globalist coup. Like, lol, amazing. Like, you can't even make this stuff up. That is absolutely amazing. Google is working overtime to ensure that you are getting all the misinformation possible. Man, big tech is running amok. Amazing. But, Klaus Schwab's little fanboy pushing CBDCs, like, who saw this coming? I mean, who would have thunk this? Like, this is amazing. Again, we counter all the FUD all the time, and it's almost getting ridiculous how obvious and noticeable all the narratives are. Like, I've said it in the past, we don't even have to read these articles because we already know what they're going to say, but it's our job to continue to counter this stuff. Because if you listen to that video, what's he saying? Like, all the benefits of CBDCs that he mentioned are literally the exact opposite of what it will do for its citizens. It's like, it's Orwellian double speak. The CBDC full stop is about total control of the population, and they know that, and we know that, and it's our job to continue to push on those buttons. And like you said it best, and you said it last night as well. It's like, why are we being forced to use a money that is designed to lose value over time consistently? That's how it's designed to do. And then to add on top of that, not only is it designed to lose value, but you can get cut off from the system instantly, and these are the features that they are pushing for you for your safety, citizen. Like, this is absolutely insane Orwellian doublespeak. It's like, trust me, citizen, I know what's best for you and your money. You are not an adult. You can't use money how it's supposed to be made. And then on the last note, this is a little side note for the Bitcoiners out there. I got a real throwback nostalgic vibe on that video from what's his name, Rishi whatever, the new prime minister of the UK. It reminded me of that Roger Ver video where he's saying like Mount Gox has all your funds, like your funds are Safu, and he's just reading off the teleprompter. It's just like, man, this is insane stuff going on right now. But the worst part is that people are going to fall for this, and they're going to get corralled in the CBD system, and it's upon us to continue to push on those buttons and make sure that people understand that Bitcoin is the freedom money. Bitcoin is the money that they tout their CBDC to be, and so they can't co-opt this narrative as long as we're out here breathing and pushing this signal. Like, Bitcoin is the way, and the CBDC is not. It's just a trap, man. It's absolutely insane,
dude. 100%. And guys, at the end of the day, the only defense against this is taking Bitcoin into self-custody, arming yourself with the truth, arming yourself with the knowledge, and it falls to you. And I know that our second greatest viewer base is coming from the UK. Like, you have to understand that now your leader, right, is a big fan of slavery money. And when we say slavery money, we mean central bank digital currencies, right? So is Bitcoin going to be allowed to coexist with central bank digital currencies? People are always going to pick freedom, right? People are always going to pick something that is designed to go up in value versus something that is designed to go down in value, right? So I think at the end of the day, what governments are going to inevitably do is to try to coerce people into using central bank digital currencies. And that's exactly what they did in communist China already. And that's why they banned Bitcoin, Bitcoin transactions, Bitcoin mining, right? Because they want people to use a money of which they can control, right? And that's a big question that the West is going to have to answer in the next 5 to 10 years. Is the West really adhering to those principles of liberty and freedom? Or was it all a facade the entire freaking time? We shall see which one it is. Anyways, let's get on to the news. Let's do this. A lot to talk about.
The Daily News.
Brought to you by Bitbox 2 Bitcoin Only Edition, a hardware wallet by Shift Crypto. Crypto like cryptography. It's secure, it's open source, and it's so easy your mom can set it up. Self-custody is the revolution, and the Bitbox makes it simple. Do not leave your Bitcoin on an exchange. Order a Bitbox today.
Jesus, I want to order a Bitbox. I'm so every time. Every time. Opti's making me go broke. Okay. Anyways, big freaking news. This is absolutely incredible. CashApp enables send and receive Bitcoin Lightning payments for 40 million users. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are saying. CashApp is not self-custody. Why, what does this matter? This is noise. Nico, what the hell are you talking about? Well, no, this is pushing the Lightning Network. And this is going to, because of market forces, this is also going to push other companies like PayPal, like Robinhood, to enable Lightning enable Lightning payments. Remember, it was Cash App's enabling of Bitcoin purchases on the app, and because it was so successful, that forced the hand of Robinhood and of PayPal, because they were losing market share to Cash App. So it's the same thing, right? We know Jack Dorsey's fully orange pilled. We know he's on the mission. We know he quit Twitter to work on Bitcoin full time. We know that he was behind the Stratum V2 update that is going to further decentralize mining, right? So the guy's on the mission. And I think this is a beautiful move, because if you're in PayPal's position, if you're in Robinhood's position, now your competitor is offering a feature that you don't offer, right? So I believe, and we correctly predicted this as well when I said PayPal's going to enable withdrawals, Robinhood's going to enable withdrawals, because if they don't, people are just going to use the service that enables withdrawals, right? So this is great news. And another thing is, this is getting people's feet wet in Bitcoin. So now a lot of the shitcoin narratives, right, that were based off Bitcoin's slow, Bitcoin takes 10 minutes to confirm, that all just died, right? Just died, snap of a finger. Now you can send Bitcoin payments through Lightning Network instantaneously to other people, and that kills a lot of the shitcoin narratives, right? So this is really bullish news. I'm really happy about it. Again, what are the downsides? The downsides is CashApp is a custodial wallet. So it's not a self-custody wallet. Ideally, you want to be self-custodying your Bitcoin. You want to be running your own Bitcoin node with Lightning and all that stuff. But there's a level of complexity to that as well. But I think overall, this is good news because it is pushing the adoption of the Lightning Network. And I think that's good news. Anyways, Opti, what are your thoughts on this, my friend?
Well, first off, I think that, this not being self-custody is definitely a valid point. I saw a lot of people talking about that on Twitter, which obviously is like a hardcore Bitcoiner. There's trade-offs to it, and there's definitely a concern there. But this makes it a lot easier for merchants to accept Bitcoin. I mean, Cash App is almost ubiquitous with like the normie culture. I think the majority, well, not the majority of people, but a lot of people that I know have Cash App on their phone. And it's just going to do what you said, continue to get people's feet wet and get them into the Bitcoin ecosystem and allow them to use Bitcoin easier. And as well, build out the Lightning infrastructure. Like you're saying, the competitive free market will inevitably push other companies to add Lightning to their apps. And this will, one step at a time, go towards that marching of Main Street adoption. And to one of your points of this killing the shitcoin narratives, it's like that interoperability of shitcoins now is like completely destroyed with a Cash App. What do you say, 40 million users on the app, and now you can use Cash App to pay Lightning invoices anywhere around the world. Like, this is absolutely beautiful to see, and this is just going to continue to saturate the Bitcoin adoption out there. And I just can't wait to see more apps and more companies do this very thing and add Lightning to their apps and to their websites. And so, sooner than later, we will be using Lightning for our everyday purchases. And it's just a beautiful future that we're going to go in. QRs everywhere, QR codes everywhere for us.
QR codes everywhere. Anyways, Tucson, you want to add to that, my bro?
I was just thinking, there's something that I think about, periodically when something like this happens. But when I got into Bitcoin in 2018, I was watching all those YouTubers that were, talking about the price, and they're like, "Oh, something's gonna happen. The price is gonna, go up over $9,000 or over $6,000." What we're watching right now is just all the infrastructure is being built out for a Bitcoin future, and it's very, very, exciting. I mean, of course, like Cash App is not fully allowing you to be sovereign. It collects all your information, which they're going to lose and compromise you with. But I mean, what we're watching right now is that the fiat monetary system is really not serving people, and as every day goes by, it gets worse. And the Bitcoin rails are being built, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree with you. It's awesome that it's being built and it's being pushed, and this move by Jack Dorsey's Cash App is going to force other players to follow suit, whether they like it or not. And remember, the same thing happened with BlackRock. Larry Fink is not a fan of Bitcoin, but again, he didn't want to lose market share to his competitors, so his hand was forced to offer Bitcoin investment to his clients, right? So that's why they teamed up with Coinbase. Right. So it's market forces doing what market forces doing. And behind all of this is Bitcoin's irresistible incentives. Right. And this is just right now. This is just 2022. You imagine what the world's going to be like 5 years from now, 4 years from now. Holy crap. I'm really, really bullish for it. Anyways, before more bullish news, guys, I want to talk about another attack vector developing. Just to give you guys some context, right? Remember, this was Tornado Cash. Tornado Cash, we've been covering this for quite a bit on this show. And remember the justification that was used to go after Tornado Cash, right? And check out the wording. Wording is very important. It's very powerful. This is a press release by the U.S. Treasury dated August 8, 2022. It says U.S. Treasury sanctions notorious virtual currency mixer Tornado Cash. This includes $455 million stolen by the Lazarus Group, a Democratic Republic of Korea, also known as North Korea, state-sponsored hacking group that was sanctioned by the U.S. in 2019 in the largest known virtual currency heist to date. Remember, guys, talk about strawman, talk about the boogeyman. Are we fans of North Korea and their hacking and the Lazarus? No. But what we are going to say is that this is an excuse. This is a justification that the U.S. Treasury used to sanction open source software. Remember, sanctions were specifically tailored for individuals and governments. They were never meant for software. So why are they doing it for software? Well, we've been making the case for you guys is because they're trying to set a precedent, because Bitcoin is a threat to current U.S. sanctioned policy. Remember, the United States government gets a tremendous amount of power and influence from being the world's reserve currency. And by being the world's reserve currency, they're able to dictate a few bureaucratic elites in Washington, D.C., who is entitled to use money and who's not entitled to use money, right? That being said, that was the preface. Now, what was the consequence of that? Fast forward, Ethereum moves to proof of stake. Now, 59% of Ethereum validators are now actively sanctioning, actively censoring for the Office of Foreign Asset Control, which is part of the U.S. Treasury. So what NODL said in his tweet was so spot on. The U.S. government releases a blog post, and this is the result. And this highlights the importance of decentralization, right? Anyways, so going fast forward to what happened recently, this just came out today. The United States Attorney's Office, Eastern District, New York, 2 Chinese intelligence officers charged with obstruction of justice and scheme to bribe U.S. government employee and steal documents related to the federal prosecution of People's Republic of China-based company. Defendants paid $61,000 in Bitcoin bribes to double agent under the control of the FBI to obtain internal files and other non-public information related to the ongoing investigation and prosecution of a People's Republic of China-based company. According to court documents, also the guy Dong He and Jackie He allegedly orchestrated a scheme to steal files and other information from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York related to the ongoing federal criminal investigation and prosecution of global telecommunications company based in the PRC, including by paying approximately $61,000 in Bitcoin bribes to U.S. government employee. Okay, and you think, okay, Nico, they're spying. This is bad. You get it. Remember, guys, remember the boogeyman. What came out shortly after this news? Shout out to our friends at No Bullshit Bitcoin. Check out the date, October 25th. Check out the date here, October 24th. Chinese spies use Wasabi Wallet CoinJoin to pay Bitcoin bribes to FBI double agent. Do you guys see where this is going? Remember, they used the justification of the North Koreans using Tornado Cash, even though we know that 90% of Tornado Cash users were using it for innocent purposes. But they use that to go after open source technology. And I'm going to make the case, and I believe they're using this example of the 2 Chinese spies using Bitcoin, because, of course, it's like they never use fiat, right? Using Bitcoin, specifically using the Wasabi wallet, to justify what? What do you think is next? What do you think is next? And this is why I got so upset when Wasabi Wallet announced that they're actively blacklisting certain Bitcoin addresses from coin joining. Well, it looks like that didn't work, did it? You're being complacent with people. You're trying to bargain with people that have every incentive to destroy you. And it didn't work. Chinese spies used it anyway. So where is this going? I believe the Treasury, I believe just governments in general, they're going to go after Bitcoin mixers. The Tornado Cash was the opening salvo, was the justification. And now here, coincidentally, a day after, oh, that's 61,000? Oh, they used CoinJoin. They used Wasabi. Wasabi bad. And then when they take that away from us, what's next? You can't transact with anybody. Can't transact with anybody freely. U.S. mining pools can't include certain blacklisted transactions that were not approved by the Office of Foreign Asset Control. These people aren't fucking around, and they're very smart, and they have a ton of resources. This is, at the end of the day, this is a battle for everything. And they're just not going to give over those keys gently. They're going to slowly take away your freedoms. They're going to slowly villainize you specifically for wanting privacy. You cannot have freedom without privacy, period. And this was enshrined in the U.S. Constitution, the 4th Amendment. But that went off the fucking window. That doesn't matter nowadays. This is pure money, power politics. And these people are not going to give it over gently. And what you have to do is you have to arm yourself with facts, and you have to arm yourself with truth. And don't get distracted by the boogeyman. Just because it's North Korea, remember, Bitcoin's the money of enemies. You have to be okay with your worst enemy using this technology. Just because the North Koreans use it, just because Chinese spies used Bitcoin, they could use cash as well, should not give them the ability and the right to take away your freedoms. And that's exactly what they are doing. They're trying to villainize privacy, and that isn't okay. And they made an example of the Tornado Cash developer as well. Remember, they put that guy in jail. Remember Ross, right? And they denied him bail not too long ago. So this is where this is going. And we have to have an important conversation. It needs to be said. It needs to be had. What world do we want to live in? Do we want to live in a world with an open monetary network? Or do we want to live in a world where an unelected bureaucratic elite in Washington, D.C. play God and get to dictate who is entitled to use money and who is not entitled to use money? I know what world I want to live in. You have to ask yourself, the individual, what world you want to live in. Opti, what's good?
Well, first off, we talked about this last night with Troy Cross. Well, rather you did. And I think by the end, we definitely, we're coming from both sides, but agreed that this is all about control, and U.S. Treasury thinks they can control Bitcoin. And this is very obviously an attack on Bitcoin, the protocol. And now we have another attack on Bitcoin's privacy in general. And we've been saying it on the show for a while that they will be using these low-hanging fruit excuses of money laundering, the boogeyman of like China or Russia, and a currency that they can't control, and how they have to ensure that, you know, the safety of the citizen is protected. But we just know that it's just such an easy excuse. And Nico's incepted the idea in my mind a while ago. It's like we cannot underestimate our enemy. As much as we like to be naive in our thinking that, oh, we just need to educate them more, I think we can kind of get to the point where we're understanding that a lot of the stuff we're saying is falling on deaf ears. And while there is some people in Washington, you know, there are some politicians that are starting to get it, that want to understand what is going on with Bitcoin and understand that they don't want to shoot themselves in the foot because they can definitely benefit with Bitcoin. It's becoming very obvious that people, the bureaucrats out there, the high-level parasites, as we like to call them, what is, Nico, the monetary demons out there.
The monetary demons!
It's becoming very obvious that they are completely terrified of Bitcoin, and they're trying to do whatever they can to shoot Bitcoin by the knees and try to hamper the adoption of Bitcoin. But as I say all the time, you can't ban yourself from Bitcoin, or you can't ban Bitcoin. You can only ban yourself from Bitcoin. And anytime I see stuff like this happen by bureaucracies, it it's kind of a silver lining for me. It proves our point as Bitcoiners that we need Bitcoin even more in this world, because the fact that these authoritarians are doing this to something that is a peaceful revolution like Bitcoin, that is just simply freedom money, it very obviously shows their bias. It's like, why are we forced to use Nico's questions, why are we being forced to use a money that is designed to lose value when we have a better option that is Bitcoin? And if they can't answer this question, then it's very obvious what their bias is. And it's just because they want to completely control you and ensure that you can't freely transact with people. And you can't convince me otherwise.
Yeah, they want to force you to use a money that steals from you to benefit them. Right. And that's the crux of the issue. And that's the question that they're going to have to answer. Anyways, Alex, what are your thoughts on that? Dude, you did Toxic Airways, man. This should not come as a surprise to you whatsoever. So I'm really looking forward to what you have to say.
Well, we should probably ban water because North Korean hackers drink it. So it's pretty interesting to see what's happening with Ethereum right now, with all those blocks that are being censored in some way. That attack vector could be used in Bitcoin. And, when you're looking at how crazy of a centralized mess Ethereum is, to see that what was it, 61%, 59%? Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a good chunk of it that is not being censored right now. And so that means that people are still, doing bad transactions or whatever you call it on Ethereum, even though it's a centralized disaster. So that's something that's actually kind of exciting, when you're looking at attacks on Bitcoin potentially in the future. But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's going to be interesting to see. I think we're already seeing censorship in the sense of, like, if you've coin joined Bitcoin, you can't send it to certain exchanges. I think stuff like that's actually really positive and good, because it challenges people to transact in different ways outside of the system. Like, there's really powerful market forces at work here, and people are using Bitcoin for pretty compelling reasons. It's not just like, oh, it's the cool new internet coin that everybody at school is using, so I'm using it too. It's like, I'm using this because, one, I need to survive, and two, because I believe in a bright future outside of all this nonsense. And when stuff like that happens, people respond accordingly, and interesting things happen. So I'm really excited about individuals' creativity to work around these obstacles that are put in place. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's something that that's what we've been saying on the show, is we need to innovate faster than they can regulate. And things like Stratum V2, where that change in Bitcoin mining makes it so that the individual miners have the capacity to pick what transactions are included in the blocks or not, is going to further decentralize things. So that's the key, right? The key here, and the only cryptocurrency that's going to be able to actually has a chance of separating money from state, is Bitcoin, because it's decentralized. If it's not decentralized, it will inevitably be co-opted by governments, right? And I think you hit the nail on the head, Alex, when you said that, yeah, man, look, I think it's the last time I saw 25% of the hash rate is controlled by public miners, specifically in the United States. You don't think the OFAC has knocked on their doors? So yeah, it's definitely something to be aware of, and this is why it's so important, man. Look, even if you're not even making money, perhaps just to make a stand, right? Running an S9 at home, what it's going to cost you, a couple bucks a month. It's not going to be that bad, right? Like, man, but you are further helping the decentralization of Bitcoin. Right. And if it's not decentralized, it won't stand a chance, Anyways, final thoughts?
Yeah, I want to say something real quick. So there's a lot of hate for the public companies, but like going back to they're public mining companies, but going back to the importance of market forces, like we saw what happened with Marathon when they tried to pull that nonsense with censoring certain transactions. And so, what happens when public companies do this? Well, they're going to get demolished. Their stock price is going to get destroyed. At a certain point, like especially right now, if these public companies start doing this, their stocks are going to get delisted, and then they're not going to have access to capital, to continue buying miners and paying for power bills. And so there's some pretty powerful forces at work here that ensure that you have to be, in line with the incentives of Bitcoin to be successful in this industry. So I think that's something it's important to look at too.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think market forces are definitely playing in our favor, and just Bitcoin, that's where Bitcoin shines, man. So I agree with the marathon and how they walked it back because of the community backlash, and that this is why also I believe toxicity is important. Bitcoin toxicity, to be specific. But who's to say they're not doing it under the rug? Who's to say they're not? Who's to say they're not doing it when no one's looking, right? So the backlash isn't there, right? Anyways, just some thoughts for you guys. Let's get to the culture. I'm really excited for it.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today. All right, guys, I also want to give a shout out to the Pacific Bitcoin Conference. It's going to be the largest Bitcoin conference on the West Coast, November 10th through 11th. It's coming up. You're not going to want to miss it. It's a 2-day experience leading the way to a bright orange future. Speaker list includes The Chad, Michael Saylor, Lynn Alden, Corey Clifton, Jeff Booth, Breedlove, Pierre Richard, Guy Swan, Mark Moss, Dr. Jeff Ross, Nico, and Opti are going to be doing a live Simply Bitcoin episode from the Swan Dome at the Pacific Bitcoin Conference. You could take advantage of the promo code all caps Simply to get a major discount on your Pacific Bitcoin tickets.
All right, guys. Well, we have our buddy Alex from Kaboom Rack, so I figured we get a lot of questions about Kaboom Racks, and I love the company. I love Alex on the Twitter timeline. He might be my favorite social media darling out there, but I got a few tweets here. The first one here, I think I'm going to start off with the hopium here, or at least your perspective. It's a little speculative, but you tweeted, I think this is the ASIC bottom or very close to it. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty convinced. So maybe tell the people out there why you think that this is the bottom of the market prices in ASICs, and maybe why people should be getting into Bitcoin mining right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the bottom for the price of ASICs, primarily because we're watching the manufacturers slow down production on some of these models like the S19s and M30s. And there's just, yeah, it's pretty simple. But I mean,
Beautiful.
The prices are fantastic right now.
Let's go. You heard it here from someone that sells them.
So I'll kind of chime in on this too, because I experienced the event that happened between 2017 and 2018, right? And it was a bloodbath. And I'll tell you this, guys, anybody that got into mining after the collapse of 2017, after we blew off the top, anybody who got into mining 2018, 2019 made a boatload of money. The only key is survival. You have to survive. You're going to have to endure the pain. But anyone who did made a very, very, very good decision. I regret not going more aggressively and expanding in 2018, 2019. And what I'm seeing is a very similar circumstance today where it's been a bloodbath. It's been catastrophic. ASIC prices, the S19 was selling at like $9,000 to $10,000. And, it dropped down to, there's like 32, the prices better than I do, Alex. And it dropped down, man. It had a huge haircut. So if you want to get into Bitcoin mining, if you're interested in getting into Bitcoin mining, now's the time. You do not want to get into Bitcoin mining when the price is going parabolic. Anyways, my 2 cents.
I bought an S19 at $10,000. Fun fact, but
We all have to learn.
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people really got wrapped up in the bull market, and thought that Bitcoin was going to, infinity, and that we were in a super cycle, and we're building, their minds around that. And I definitely got caught up in those emotions and probably didn't make the best decisions myself. But like, if you're building out right now in hard times with the ability to be profitable and thinking through the steps that way, you're probably going to be a lot more successful long term. But yeah, I remember having conversations about how are we going to ship these miners if they're $40,000 a piece? Like, that's where our heads were not that long ago. So
Yeah, man.
Beautiful.
And a lot of people like just fell into that mania. But still, guys, don't be distracted by what was it? The famous Rothschild, whatever quote. It's like, buy when blood's on the streets. It's like, you have to understand what mining is. Bitcoin mining is a leverage long, right? So like, obviously, if you are if you're buying a miner, in the bull market, you're going to get absolutely wrecked. The same thing happened in 2017. The history is repeating itself, but the biggest opportunity presents itself when the crash happens. And we haven't even seen a hash rate crash yet. Last time in 2017, it took a year for the hash rate to finally crash, right? So the hash rate kept going up even after the blow off top in 2017. The hash rate didn't start coming back down until October 2018, right? So yeah, man. But this is a great opportunity for anyone who's somewhat interested in Bitcoin mining.
Well, perfect segue. You guys already covered it, but I had this tweet here. Again, Alex is my favorite social media darling, and he tweets on Kaboom Racks: Bitcoin mining lets you trade monopoly money for electricity for Bitcoin. What a deal. Anyways, the next one, since you guys are talking about this, I think this is a solid meme as well. Alex was telling me this exact same thing at the mining conference. And to those in the Twitter spaces, this is a tweet by Marshall Long, and he's quoting Kaboom Rex CEO, and he goes, Bitcoin mining is for masochists. And Marshall Long goes, he's not wrong. So Alex, maybe explain why you guys can always say that Bitcoin mining is for masochists. And I think we kind of touched on it a little bit, but I love when you go on your rant. So go on.
I mean, it's a really painful industry. It's really hard. A lot of people fail. Oh no, there's music in the background. Yeah, I mean, you just got to be prepared. I mean, you're dealing with hardware that there's no documentation on, that has, failure rates, that's difficult to fix. You're just kind of blundering around in the dark, feeling around, trying to make things work with limited resources. And, to go into that type of work, you got to like pain. So, yeah.
That's a great answer.
Beautiful.
That's a great answer.
Okay, this next one, I've kind of been incepted with this new meme of just calling not only Bitcoin miners like data centers, like mining farms, but also just calling ASICs themselves like space heaters. So I got this tweet that you guys retweeted. Is Kaboom Racks the largest seller of space heaters? And you added PSA, electric heaters are scams, Bitcoin miners are not. Oof. And this last one by Mr. Hoddle, and he goes, winter is coming, ASICs are cheap. Just saying. So maybe for the people out there that aren't aware of the secondary, maybe the first order effects of ASICs, how come you guys call them space heaters?
I mean, they produce a ton of heat.
We're
doing a deal on S9s right now, $125 each. I heated my house with S9s last year, and I mean, they're just really not profitable almost anywhere unless you have insanely inexpensive electricity. But I think they're one of the best ways to get that intro into mining, to, learn how much your wife hates the sound of Bitcoin miners, to see how much heat it produces, to kind of figure out, watching your electric bill spike as you're pulling a constant load of electricity, without having to go out and spend a couple $1,000s for a new machine and, potentially do some electrical upgrades on your house. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to be heating my house this year with M30s. upgraded from S9s because I want to earn a little bit more revenue with my home heating system. But yeah,
dude. So that I want to go back to that because that's fascinating. So I live in Florida most of the time, and yeah, you don't want the heat. Actually, you want to vent out the heat. But how the hell do you deal with the noise, bro? Like, fine, you heat your house, but like, they're really loud. They're very loud, especially if you have a couple of them.
yeah. I mean, if I didn't live with my wife, then I wouldn't care. I would deal with the noise and be whatever. But because I do, I have to get creative. So, yeah, I mean, so one of the articles that got me interested in Bitcoin mining was mining for the streets by Diverter No KYC, and he had a method where he put his S9 or S17, I forgot what it was, in like a $20 Igloo cooler. And I did that with S9s last year. You can't do that with newer models. You have to get a little bit more creative. Upstream data, they sell this thing called a black box. They also, which I think is more interesting, put out like a do-it-yourself black box that you can make. So you just go to Lowe's, buy a bunch of stuff, cut it up, and make a soundproof box. And that helps mitigate the heat. The experiment I'm working on right now is buying some different fans. So buying an inline fan and running it on immersion firmware so that it doesn't get fan errors when I'm running it on the M30s. And if I can't figure that out with the M30, I'm going to have to do it with the S19, which is a little bit, easier with firmware. But I've seen people do that on Twitter, and there's a bunch of great Telegram groups out there. Home Mining Wizards is a great one if you want to get in there, ask questions, figure out how people are heating their homes and ethically earning Bitcoin in the process. So
why don't you tell everybody about the legendary Kaboom Racks Telegram group? What's it for? What can people find over there? And Opti is a genius.
Oh yeah, we just post what we got on our inventory. So if you want to buy miners, that's the best way to stay updated with what we have in stock is our Telegram marketplace. If you are horribly opposed to using Telegram, I'm happy to sell you Bitcoin miners on Twitter and shill our deals there. But yeah, our marketplace, best place to see what we got.
What's the name for it so people listening in the space can find it? Do you know it?
Oh, just look up Kaboom Racks on Kaboom Racks marketplace on Telegram.
Beautiful.
So
hold on. All right, go on, Nico.
Yeah. So also, you guys are also really easy to communicate with. So for example, like if you don't also have to go to the Telegram group, you could hit up Nick, you could hit up yourself, you can hit up a lot of the Kaboom guys directly. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah, so when you go in the marketplace, it'll have my name, it'll have Robert's name, and then Nick's name, and you can hit us up. And what you could do, depending on who's available, you could hit all three of us up at the same time and see who responds first.
Awesome. And for our audio listeners, before we get on to the meme review, guys, the link to the Telegram group is www.t.me/kaboomracks. And that's how you get to the Kaboom Racks marketplace. And you can buy yourself a good priced ASIC, man. You guys have some of the best prices. So anyways,
before we go to the memes, I brought this tweet up here because I remember something Alex told me at the mining conference, and I really think that this is just an awesome outlook on a company ethos. And you can see right here, it's a tweet, says that Kaboom Racks would really value customer success. And this was Alex telling me the same thing in public. He says, we actively tell customers not to buy equipment from us if we do not think they will be successful. And to add on what you told me, and I think this is like complete sauce and signal that I think more companies should have the same ethos. You basically told me, it's like, look, as a Bitcoin mining company, we are not just trying to sell you a product one time. We want to build relationships with you for 10 years down the line. So I don't know if you want to add more on that, Alex, but I think that that's just an awesome low time preference view of building a company.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the reality of the space of like, we we're going to be successful as a company if we have customers that buy from us for the next 100 years. Like, I want to sell Bitcoin miners to you, your kids, and your grandkids. And for that to happen, you have to be successful. If I sell you equipment and you're in a bad situation and you go and fail, you're probably going to, pound your fist on the or punch the ASIC, hurt your hand, and then never mine Bitcoin again. And that's not a good situation. So yeah, Nick was bragging to me about, we had a booth at the mining conference, and he was bragging about how many customers he told not to buy Bitcoin miners. It's something that happens periodically, where somebody, hits me up. I'm not always interrogating, individuals on like what their situation is. But somebody might come to me and is like, hey, here's my situation. I live in Alabama and I have 20-cent power. Does it make sense for me to mine? And I'll
Absolutely
say no.
not.
Like, doesn't make sense at all. Like, please do not buy Bitcoin miners.
I think that's the tragedy of it, for I don't know what other word, because I've told that to so many people, and what my experience is that they just don't listen and they buy it anyways. But like, if you are curious and you do want to scratch your itch, just buy an S9. Mm-hmm. It's not gonna make you rich. In fact, you'll probably lose money on it, but you will learn a side of Bitcoin that most people don't know about, the infrastructure side of Bitcoin, and you'll get a deeper appreciation of mining, and you'll know right then and there whether you have that itch and whether you want to do more. And now you have a good place to buy your miners. Kaboom, Rex!
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by CipherSafe. Don't be that person that loses their Bitcoin seed due to fire damage, water damage, dog attacks. Back up your generational Bitcoin wealth on steel. And there's no better place to do it than the Cypher Grid by CipherSafe. And now check out their new Bitcoin art, the Bitcoin Rulux triangle, only on cyphersafe.io.
All right, boys and girls, well, mainly boys out there, you already know. Tweets are the bullets and memes are the artillery in this information war, as I like to call it, this misinformation war. Because as you guys can tell, and we've been covering for a while, we are definitely in the then they fight you stage, and we need to continue to get these calls of action out there. We need to continue to propagate the truth. We need to continue to push these feel-good narratives so that people understand that Bitcoin is the life raft. Or as I have here in the first meme by @selfbank, Bitcoin is your lifeboat, and it's a little orange submarine with the Bitcoin logo on it, and it says stack. Yes, guys, Bitcoin is essentially Noah's Ark and will protect you. This next one is by @McShane. Shouts out to @McShane_writes on Twitter. And I really like this. And he goes, the only Bitcoin chart you need. And it's, on the left side of the chart, we got the dollar and Bitcoin. It's got no, no y-axis here, but I'm pretty sure this is price. And then we have time. And the dollar price is going to 0 over time. And the Bitcoin price is going up. Number goes up, and to the right, infinity divided by 21 million. This is all you need to know, guys. As long as blocks are coming in, Bitcoin is winning. This next one, I think it's very fitting considering we have the Kaboom Max guys on here, and it's by BTC Gandalf. And it goes, change the code, campaigners doing research. And he's looking at the book, how to change Bitcoin to proof of stake. And then he opens the book and it's, you can't. And he's just filled with tears. Yes, guys, you cannot change the code. Amazing. Feature, not a bug. This next one, I know all of you have felt this one, at least if you're been around for a cycle or so in Bitcoin. This happens every single time. And if you're new to Bitcoin, this is your first cycle, I'm almost positive you will go through the same thing. This is Mississippi Huddle meme, and he goes, it's a monkey, a big old ape, and it's Bitcoin price 68,000 plus 230%, and the guy goes, I wish I bought earlier. And then you got down here on the bottom, the same ape going at 20K Bitcoin, down 68%. It is a scam. It is going to 0. I don't know how many times I've experienced this with friends. It doesn't fail. Every time the price goes up, they always say the same thing, I wish I bought. And every time the price goes down, they say, oh, I'm going to buy it lower. And they never buy. This next one, shouts out the Rave Elevator. I thought this one's funny. It's not necessarily a meme, but we got the Michael Saylor. Hold on. We got it right here.
What's the second best? There is no second best.
We got the famous video of him where he goes all interstellar, and we got the quote on top of "Are you winning, son?" And it's some dude laying in a I don't even know, modified
what is
gaming
that?
stack
What is
computer
that?
where he can continue to watch Michael Saylor say.
There is no second best.
And this last one, I felt this one right here by meming Bitcoin, and this is Lord of the Rings meme. And it's Frodo on top, and he goes, "What are we holding on to, Sam?" And we got Sam with the Bitcoin logo, and he says, "There's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it is worth fighting for." I felt this one. I even got chills re-saying this to you guys because I really believe that we're doing something very honorable, pushing Bitcoin. As I have over here, it's another quote by Kaboom Rex, the best social media timeline. He goes, "If you're mining, you are contributing to something incredibly important. Fixing the money is no trivial issue, and neither is securing the network doing that." Guys, remember, we are winning out there in this information war. Bitcoin continues to win. The incentives of Bitcoin continue to win. And we just got to ensure that people understand that the solution is here, and it is Bitcoin. And I really like that Frodo meme, that Lord of the Rings meme, because I felt it.
Wait. Guys, this is Simply
yeah,
Bitcoin Live.
of course. I
Put your
forget every
score.
time.
Put your score in the live chat. Make Opti and I feel uncomfortable. We will read it on the show live and cue the music. Epic. All right, Opti, what would you give those memes?
Okay. Well, I am running out of gadgets over here, guys. But I have this USB and I think micro USB cable. You know, I'm pulling out the gadgets out here for you guys. So I don't even know where I got it, but hey, I have it on my desk.
Very nice. All right, I'm going to give those memes a dirty sock. That's right. Dirty sock. All right, Alex from Kaboom Racks.
Dang, the memes were that bad? Jeez.
I have a Kaboom Rack shirt improver right here. And so I have this like super mediocre brains full shirt. And so what you do is you take it and put it right there. And now it's a good shirt.
Oh, man.
If you know, you know. Whenever fired. Hey, if you know, you know. Whenever you see the Kaboom Racks guys, you are going to get tagged up with Kaboom Rack stickers.
I have one on my luggage. Anyways, guys.
Don't stop believing. Hodl to that feeling.
All right, guys, please put your scores in the live chat and we will get to them. Shout out Yellow. Thanks for making an appearance. Brandon says, I give those memes a 1.21 gigawatt mining farm. Giga. I like that spelling. Interesting. All right. Michael Morrison, I give those memes a me, wife, in-law, 2.5 joint account. I mean, multi-sig. Wow. Okay, Michael. Very nice. Infopocalypse. I love the yellow spelling. Memes this, my jet boy, titanium spork. All right, next one.
Don't stop believing. Hodl to that feeling.
Global Nonsense says I give those memes a Bank of England NFT. All right, next one, Opti. And Opti's neglected
earlobe spacers phase. Scores 2 ear spacers and 1 thick black rim glasses.
Oh,
wow,
man.
Alt confirmed.
Oh man. All right, Z-Logic, I give those memes a nuclear powered Bitcoin miner in space. All right, Max Trotter, I give those memes a WEF puppet and teleprompter. Very nice. All right, Diogenes. By the way, shout out to Diogenes. He is making a new intro for us. I'm so excited. I just got it. I'm gonna edit it this week. It looks freaking epic. Anyways, Diogenes says, I give those memes Tucson, nice rack, toxic airwaves for life. Yeah. Whoop. Very nice. All right,
I think we're running out of time, but there's a few more, Nico.
I give those memes 10,000 sat carat code Y33UYAP7.
I think someone's getting 10,000 sats if you put in that code to carrot.
Yeah,
I'm going for it.
Going for it.
All right, Igor, I give those memes a Darth coin guide. Yes, guys. By the way, I pinned it in. Oh, this is a perfect transition, Opti. Oh, one more from Andres. I give those memes one of those honey bear bottles. Anyways, guys, speaking of Darth Coin's guide, you could find it on Simply Bitcoin's Telegram group. Darth Coin is a mod. He's a pleb mod. We pinned his guide to the top. Darth Coin has some awesome writing. Go check it out. Only on www.t.me/the Simply Bitcoin channel. It's Simply Bitcoin's Telegram group. It's absolutely free. Costs you nothing. Join it. Anyways, also check out Simply Bitcoin Unfiltered. Check out our awesome writers, Zach, Rustin, Paul, Weinicus. It's the written version of Simply Bitcoin. You definitely don't want to miss it. Go to www.simplybitcoin.news. Anyways, I also want to give a very special shout out. No, I have to show the audio. No, Opti, that's your job.
Oh yeah, guys. Check us out in audio form. We are on Anchor. We are on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcast. I think we're on like every podcast app you probably have. But we are also on Fountain. We are part of the Value for Valley economy. I still don't have I haven't signed in yet, guys. But forgive me. I will do it soon. I'm smashed over here, dude. I'm running on thin air over here, Nico. But we love you guys. Thank you for clipping us. Thank you for sending us sats. We appreciate it. Well, I'll get your comments on the show soon. Bear with me.
Bear with us. It's true, guys. This is very difficult doing this every day. Anyways, I also want to give a very special shout out to our awesome guest. He is from Kaboom Racks, one of the best places to buy Bitcoin miners. Definitely go check out their Telegram group. Go to www.t.me/Kaboom Racks. Alex, thank you for joining us on the show. Where can people find you on social media?
Find me on Telegram. I just made an awesome sticker pack, so you should check it out. I'm KaboomRax Alex on Telegram. I'm also on Twitter. My username is KaboomRax Alex.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to put you backstage for a second. All right, guys, that was another episode of Simply Bitcoin. If you like the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. If you feel like this content provided you value, consider subscribing. And the number one thing you could do to push this peaceful revolution forward is share the video. Get the signal out there. We love you all, and we will see you tomorrow for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second